Everywhere I've been in North London these last few weeks, people have been talking about this match. And the spectators here, who've had a special souvenir brochure to look at to celebrate this 100th League derby, they've also looked at their match programme for the team changes, and they are already aware that Spurs, whose first ever match against Arsenal is commemorated there in the league, Spurs team news shows that Steve Hodge is injured and won't be playing. Ossie Ardiles is back at number 4. Tony Galvin at number 11 after scoring as a sub on Thursday, and Nico Claesen the substitute. Arsenal keep the team that beat Wimbledon on Thursday. Graham Rix back in the first team picture as substitute, but that team has just set a new club record of 18 matches without defeat. What a way for Arsenal to start their second century, and away they go, playing from right to left. Spurs are back in their old colours of dark blue shorts, which will please many of their supporters. But it's Arsenal in possession with Steve Williams. That's the first foul. Paul Allen was the offender. 2 Thomases in the Tottenham team and 2 Allens, so we'll get you used to that a little bit later on. For the moment, for this free kick, Tony Adams has gone forward for Arsenal, and so too has Viv Anderson. The header was by Richard Gough, the new Tottenham captain, wearing 5. Now the Arsenal captain, Kenny Sansom. Number 11, Martin Hayes. Anderson is still on the edge of the penalty area, and he'll have to stay there now because Arsenal have another free kick. Foul by Chris Waddle. Niall Quinn, the big number 9 who Jimmy Hill mentioned, is a permanent threat on set plays. He's in there on the edge of the area. Adams is behind him. They've got Anderson in there as well. Those are the 3 who they might be aiming at. And Quinn's at the back here, and it's come to Charlie Nicholas with the shot. Offside flag was up, it wouldn't have mattered, but the referee will play an advantage. Well, for those of you who don't live in London, who might appreciate a little bit of the local geography here, the 2 grounds are only 4 miles apart, and the rivalry between Arsenal and Tottenham supporters is legendary and passionate. And that's probably the last word applicable to this game. We shall see. Mitchell Thomas back in the Tottenham team after injury. Ardiles. Galvin is on the left. Still Ardiles. Galvin. Mitchell Thomas. Hoddle. And the top surface is very greasy because it's been pouring with rain in North London all day. Waddle again. Now Danny Thomas, number 2. Given away. Williams was the man that got the ball forward. Danny Thomas who got it back. Clive Allen wants it played square. O'Leary in the way. Hoddle. And Paul Davis got a foot in. Ardiles. Clive Allen. Always ready to shoot at goal, and who wouldn't be with 28 goals already this season in League and Cup. Here's Ardiles. Thomas, Spurs making much of the early play, but Quinn got back well. And John Lukic will appreciate a good feel of the ball on a day like this. Back to Kenny Sansom. Goalkeepers now, of course, have to be careful, they can't pick it up twice. Niall Quinn is still hovering up front, being marked by Richard Gough, and that's going to be one of the day's battles, I fancy. Adams takes the free kick. Here's O'Leary. And a free kick this time to Spurs, given by referee Roger Milford from Bristol. Waddle. Play on, says the referee. It was Adams' tackle. Hayes. Nicely played, well-balanced Arsenal these days, with Paul Davis prodding it forward, Williams to Hayes. There's a good team understanding here that has been built up through this long unbeaten sequence. It goes back, in fact, to the end of September when Arsenal last lost at Nottingham Forest. Bobby Charlton is in the commentary position with me, and there may not be too much time to talk, Bobby. A frantic game in prospect.
Yes, looks like a battle midfield at the present time. I think Williams and Hoddle, who comes out the best, will have a bearing on this result.
Corner to Arsenal. The Arsenal fans are packed behind that left-hand goal, the goal that Arsenal are attacking in the first half, and it's going to be Paul Davis with the kick. Anderson off the line. Could have been Thomas who got it away. It was certainly Anderson that had the chance. Sansom. And Quinn's there, and Adams is there. And it's a goal to Arsenal. They scored anyway, and Tony Adams has put them in front in dramatic fashion here. Within seconds of Spurs scoring off their goal line, look what happened here. Niall Quinn was there with the header, and Tottenham thought it was offside. The flag stayed down, Clemence came out, and Adams' effort ricocheted over him and into the net. And Arsenal are in front in the North London derby after only 6 minutes. Tony Adams has scored his 6th goal of the season from centre-back, having stayed forward after the corner. Well, all sorts of things to debate later there. Clemence was rescued by his defender to start with when Anderson's shot was kicked off the line, and 20-year-old Tony Adams has put Arsenal in front. But was it offside, Bobby Charlton?
Yes, I think that Mitchell Thomas, the left-back, just played them onside, as it turns out. He wasn't out as quick as the rest, and let young Adams in for the goal. It's really set this game alight.
Hayes is chasing here, Danny Thomas. Well, just the start the league leaders wanted. And Adams again. Paul Allen to Ardiles. Bear in mind, in the previous 99 league fixtures between the two clubs, they're absolutely level, 39 wins each. Offside this time, Paul Allen. So whoever wins today goes ahead in the series, and Arsenal, who've just marked their centenary, at this moment are celebrating in some style. Quinn with Goff, and Quinn was the player whose header forced the ball through to Adams in that goal-bound movement. Even though Tottenham defenders were standing still and waiting for a linesman's flag. Hoddle puts it through, here's Clive Allen, and O'Leary. Corner. When Tottenham have a corner, Mitchell Thomas, Mabbutt and Goff all come forward. And it was Adams away from Mabbutt. Adams very much the man of the moment, but this is Steve Williams to David Rocastle. Free kick to Spurs, Mitchell Thomas was fouled. And he's just come back from a nasty injury, which he sustained on Boxing Day. In fact, it was an ankle, so that recent knock will do him no good at all. John Sheridan, the physiotherapist on the pitch there, who's worked overtime to get Mitchell Thomas fit for this match. Well, just the sort of start Arsenal would have been looking for. Unbeaten in 18 games, Bobby, and ahead in 6 minutes.
Yes, and you can tell that they're confident, the way they're all tackling and working for one another. And to get the kind of start like that, you know, is a dream for them, really. Obviously, Tottenham's still very much in this game. You can't discount them, they've got good players. But psychologically, it's a good blow that Arsenal have struck here. and significantly by one of the people that the game is talking about at the moment, young Tony Adams, number 6, who scored the goal. But generally speaking, there's just an enthusiasm about the Arsenal team at the present time, that they believe that they're capable of anything. And it's got a tremendous prospect, this match has, and I'm looking forward to not just the one goal that we've already seen, but lots of others.
So Spurs temporarily down to 10 men. Mitchell Thomas goes off. Waddle bringing the first save out of John Lukic, but Spurs will have to decide whether Thomas can come back or whether to bring on Nico Claesen and reorganise very early in the game. Here's Charlie Nicholas, Anderson, Rocastle, Nicholas. Referee has overruled his linesman. This time it's going to be a Tottenham throw. Been playing 10 minutes, Arsenal lead 1-0. Clive Allen, beaten by Rocastle. Williams. Oh, that was very, very late. Very late on Steve Williams. And Glenn Hoddle is the player trying to signal to the referee that that was an accident, but my word, Roger Milford doesn't see it that way and will book him. Well, Bobby Charlton made the point in the opening minutes that it could be Williams against Hoddle, which settles the issue here. And Hoddle, not always renowned for digging in the tackle, left his mark there. Looking at Steve Williams there is a strong story in London today, by the way, in the Arsenal camp, that Stuart Robson is on his way to West Ham. And if he is, Steve Williams, the man who was fouled there by Glenn Hoddle, will even more be the powerhouse of the Arsenal midfield. Now, that was very, very late by Glenn Hoddle, and frankly, it was a bookable offence. But Williams has been in inspired form this season for Arsenal. And that may be one reason why, if Robson does go, they feel they can release him. Martin Hayes and Niall Quinn. Rocastle's in the centre. There's Rocastle. Oh, and Ray Clemence got a hand to that. Or did it? Well, it's a corner given. It may also have hit the post. Rocastle was the player who stole in. Mitchell Thomas is waiting to get back on, but Arsenal have a corner. And those 3 big players are there again. Anderson, well, he got his head to it, and already Arsenal are making the crosses tell. Ray Clemence grateful to see that one come straight at him. Meanwhile, Mitchell Thomas is back on the pitch, and Spurs are back to 11, and my word, they need them. Here's Thomas. Arsenal have taken the opening period here by storm. Danny Thomas. Well, Niall Quinn made good ground on the left, and Rocastle's little flick, it was definitely against the post, but the referee seemed to share my view that Clemence got a finger to it. David Rocastle, born in Lewisham, South London, and it was down in that neck of the woods that Arsenal started off playing at Plumstead before they moved to Highbury. Here's Ardiles. Richard Goff's in there. Took a tumble, and referee trying to let play go whenever he can here, but in derby matches sometimes it's difficult because there's so much nervous tension wound up out there between these great North London rivals. Ardiles for Tottenham. Now Danny Thomas. Hoddle, saw it early. Ardiles. Oh, O'Leary, a good interception. Ardiles, well played. And blocked by Paul Davis. Corner to Spurs. This could go short. Ardiles. Hoddle again. Galvin. He's also, Galvin is also the topic of some transfer talk down here. He's been linked with one or two clubs, including Derby County, as Spurs rebuild. And the oldest outfield player on the pitch today in this Derby match is Ossie Ardiles at 34. "15 minutes gone, Spurs 0, Arsenal, the First Division leaders, 1. Oh, brilliant play by Clive Allen. Mitchell Thomas, Paul Davis, Williams. Hayes, and here comes Goff. He's got his hands full with Quinn. Hoddle. Arsenal so well organised defensively this season. They've only let in 12 goals in 23 league games, and they haven't had 2 put past them in a match since the end of August. So Tottenham have got some task ahead now to claw this lead back. That was Mabbott. Davis for Arsenal. Leary. Anderson. Goff. Anderson was penalised. Interesting too that 2 of that Arsenal back 4 have already had goal-worthy efforts in this match. Anderson's kicked off the line and Adams scored. Here's Danny Thomas for Tottenham. Danny Thomas had the shot, but you had a glimpse there of the predatory instincts of Clive Allen, who was sliding in just in case on this slippery ground the ball came back off Lukic. That's why Allen gets so many goals. Rocastle. Quinn, Charlie Nicholas. Rocastle, very good player on the ball, this 19-year-old, number 7. Took 2 to stop him. It was a good tackle by Galvin. Paul Allen. Waddle. Both the Allens up in this attack. Hoddle forward. Adams is there again. Richard Goff has moved forward now for the throw-in. Waddle. There's Goff. Mitchell Thomas. In it goes to Clive Allen, tries to turn Anderson. Galvin. Mitchell Thomas. Martin Hayes on the ground. Anderson with the header out. Nicholas. 2 old Scottish foes there, Nicholas and Richard Goff. Here's the Irishman, Niall Quinn, And Kenny Sansom chose that moment to come forward. Marked by Chris Waddle, but he got the ball back off him brilliantly. This is the best left back in the country, Kenny Sansom. Williams. O'Leary. Rocastle. Arsenal moving the ball about sweetly. Nicholas. And Tottenham, quite rightly, staying tight. Galvin breaking. Clive Allen, offside against Hoddle. The Arsenal physiotherapist coming on now to deal with Martin Hayes. Is in fact 22-year-old Gary Lewin, who is possibly the youngest fully qualified physiotherapist in the whole of the Football League. He's only 22 and has recently completed his training at Guy's Hospital here in London, and a very popular young figure around the Arsenal dressing room. He used to be an apprentice goalkeeper at Highbury, but when his career as a player didn't materialise, Gary became the physiotherapist, and he's attending there to Martin Hayes, who's been down twice now. Hayes is the Arsenal top scorer this season, 14 goals. And he won't want to be at the action for too long here if he can help it. Gary Lewin has done his stuff, so play will resume. Well, that was handball. John Lukic tried to take the kick from halfway inside his own half, and Clive Allen put an arm up to block the ball. Niall Quinn with Goff, Mabbott with the volleyed clearance, Adams. Danny Thomas for Tottenham. If you've joined the match late, Spurs 0, Arsenal 1. The scorer, Tony Adams, the Arsenal number 6, after 6 minutes. With Tottenham standing still, looking for offside. Paul Allen. Waddle. Oh, good challenge by Sansom, he read it. Danny Thomas, and Tottenham can't get their passes through at the moment to the strikers. Or the main striker, who is Clive Allen. Goff's in there, a corner's been given. Goff thought he was sandwiched, but he'll stay forward now, and so will Gary Mabbott. And Clive Allen will hover almost on the goal line in case something runs loose. And there's Goff, and there's Williams. Mabbott. So a free kick to Tottenham, who are a goal down then. Halfway through the first half. Ardiles is over there, but he's going to leave it, I think, to Chris Waddle. Away by Adams. Back again with Ardiles. Out to Waddle. Tottenham have got all manner of players forward here. And Niall Quinn with Paul Allen. Arsenal scramble the ball away. But it's a Spurs throw. And the crowd really trying to lift Tottenham here. Goff's in there again. Goal kick this time.
I must say I'm impressed, John, with the way that the young Arsenal midfield players are terrier-like when they get round about one of the opposing players. They close them down. very, very quickly, and subsequently Tottenham don't have the time that they would like. They've got the wind advantage, Tottenham, at the moment, so they've had that little bit of pressure for a few minutes. But a very impressive young side, this Arsenal.
It's amazing to think that even Herbert Chapman's great team of the 30s never went so long unbeaten as this current Arsenal team under George Graham. 18 matches before today, 15 in the league, which in itself surpasses the best that the double team managed in '71. Here's Charlie Nicholas. Tries to get Rocastle through. Oh, that's late again. And that also would appear to be a bad challenge. Roger Milford talking to Steve Williams, but doesn't book him. Tottenham fans not terribly happy about that, but here's Hoddle. Rocastle, good turn. And that's a foul as well. Ardiles coming back. Rocastle, the youngest player in this match, but a very good runner with the ball. Rocastle again. Tony Galvin defending there for Spurs. That will be a goal kick. Well, the very first match in the league between these two clubs at Plumstead in 1909 ended Woolwich Arsenal 1, Tottenham 0. And that's the way of it so far today. It's that match programme which Spurs have reproduced in the middle of their own bulletin this afternoon. Quite a collector's item. Beautifully brought down by Hoddle, but Rocastle in so quickly. Abbott. Header was by O'Leary. Goff. Now Sansom. Hayes. A bit hurried that. But Sansom's there again. Ardiles for Tottenham. Danny Tuss. Clive Allen in the centre-forward position. Hoddle is also up here. Paul Allen. Waddle. Ardiles. Hoddle. Galvin. Mitchell Thomas. And Hoddle shot caught Steve Williams, possibly as it was released. It's a corner. With these corners from the right-hand side, is trying to find the head of Abbott or Goff. And Quinn was marking Mabbott. Galvin, chance for a cross. Clive Allen missed it, Waddle's there. Great block by Tony Adams, superb defending. Ardiles. Hoddle. And they're appealing for offside and they've got it. This lad at the back for Arsenal, Bobby Charlton, was saying how much people are talking about him. He's in the under-21 team already, Tony Adams, and there are many good judges who feel it won't be long before he may be in the full squad. He's been watched by Bobby Robson several times this season, and in that last melee, he closed the space down so fast to block the shot. Galvin. Anderson for Arsenal. Waddle, searching ball out to Tony Galvin, and again, all the Spurs midfield players pile forward. Mitchell Thomas. Both the Allens are in there. Here's Ardiles. Spinning away. was there, and he's still there. And Martin Hayes clears for Arsenal to Charlie Nicholas. And now Steve Williams to Quinn. There's Waddle who had the shot. Here's Rocastle. Nicholas. Good ball by Anderson. He's looking for Quinn there against Goff. Quinn just couldn't keep the ball in play. Bobby Charlton, sometimes we don't always appreciate up here or indeed at home just how fast these matches are played.
Yes, particularly fast game this, and there's a lot of effort being put in by the players. With the wind and the skiddy surface, it's going to make for a few mistakes. But at the moment, both sides, especially Arsenal, defending quite well. When Arsenal have the win in the second half, I think it'll put that little bit of extra pressure that Tottenham, I don't think, are capable of handling in the air. They seem to have struggled a little, but still, we'll see.
15 minutes left in the first half of this important North London derby, and the First Division pacemakers Arsenal still hold the lead. Starting this match, remember, 10 points ahead of Tottenham, so it's vital for Spurs' championship ambitions that they get a result here today. Otherwise, they might not catch Arsenal, even though there are other teams, of course, between those two. Everton 1 point behind at the start of play today. Championship hasn't been to London since Arsenal won it in 1971. They clinched it here at White Hart Lane in their memorable double year. Ardiles, Hoddle. That's a great ball by Hoddle, and Clive Allen's got a chance to play it inside. Offside flags up. Hoddle, as usual, quick to spot the opening. Thomas. That was Sansom. Quinn to Nicholas. Rocastle's moving to his right. Well, the handball's been given against Rocastle. And there's some pretty tempestuous stuff going on out there. Ardiles at the thick of it. Danny Thomas. Now Goff has made a sortie upfield in open play. And if it breaks down, that's always a risk you take, but it's good to see a centre-half who is prepared to launch into the attack. Here's Hoddle. Paul Allen to his cousin Clive, back again to Paul. Deflection on the shot, Lukic will have to stop it if he can. Oh, it was a bit tight, and Martin Hayes got away with it because Danny Thomas overcommitted. Three the other way for Arsenal. Nicholas has gone to the left, and Hayes through the middle. They fooled them there, and that was lovely football by Arsenal. Bobby Charlton.
Oh, that was a great little blindside run by Charlie Nicholas, which gave the young lad Martin Hayes the chance. His shot wasn't the best, but nevertheless, it really did open up the back of the Tottenham defence there. They really fell right into Arsenal's hand when Charlie went on that little dinking run out of the left-hand side.
Galvin for Spurs. Clive Allen. Well, Clive Allen, as you may remember, used to be an Arsenal player for just 62 days. In the summer of 1980, when they signed him for over £1 million. And then, would you believe it, before he'd kicked a ball in the league, swapped him for Kenny Sansom. Ardiles shaking off Williams. You wouldn't think Ardiles was the oldest outfield player on the pitch. The amount of work he's getting through. That's Hoddle, on to Galvin. And there are three waiting for a cross here for Tottenham. And it didn't come. Paul Davis in the way. Beautifully done. Paul Davis, who made his Arsenal debut on this ground in 1980. Up there. Gary Mabbott was the player who went down after the challenge by Niall Quinn. Ardiles, Waddle, Galvin, Waddle's in there, trying to find a way through for Mitchell Thomas, and he looks to have overrun that. Enough anyway for Adams to intercept. There's been some good football out of defence by Arsenal. Adams found Quinn there. And then Rocastle was in, and a little back heel by Will. Oh, look at that. That's super football by Arsenal. And Hayes onto a pass by Nicholas. Martin Hayes is going through for Arsenal, and brought down was a yes by Danny Thomas, and only just outside, which Thomas must have known, I fancy. What a move by Arsenal. One of the best pieces of football I've seen this season, and it didn't start there really. It started way back. The foul was deliberate, it was outside the penalty area, and only if Arsenal score will they get the reward they really deserved for an absolutely picture-book move involving 4 players. That was championship-type football in the heat of a local derby. Now, will Charlie Nicholas try to bend the free kick over the wall? Davis is there as well. They want them 10 yards back. Paul Davis, it's there! 2-0 to Arsenal. Paul Davis, and they get the reward that marvellous piece of football deserved. It was touched off with the back heel by Rocastle. It might have got a deflection as it went through there actually, but it's 2-0 to Arsenal. O'Leary tangling there with Allen. And again Arsenal first to the ball. That was Davis intercepting. Ardiles. Two minutes left in the first half. Spurs 0, Arsenal 2 in the Centenary League match. And here's Steve Williams, and he's got away from Mabbott, and Williams' shot saved by Clemence. Spurs are all over the place. Arsenal are dominating proceedings here at the moment, and it could so easily have been 3. This slick passing of the Arsenal team is putting men in the clear. On this occasion it's Williams, neither centre-back could get to him. Clemence just managed to smother the shot. Mabbott, Mitchell Thomas, Galvin, Mitchell Thomas still forward, here's Clive Allen, Galvin, now Quinn. The rain comes sheeting down still. Allen to Hoddle. Now Now Ozzy Ardiles is in the middle and marks, and Mitchell Thomas comes in, and Spurs have scored! Mitchell Thomas has put Tottenham back in business, and Arsenal now are stretched. Glenn Hoddle gets away, and the favourite to score is Ardiles here. But the ball goes beyond him, he couldn't reach it, Lukic couldn't either, and Thomas had come thundering through from left back and fired that into the top of the net. And once again, the team that goes 2-0 up suddenly finds that life is not that easy. Spurs reply almost instant. And it comes at a very psychological time, just before half-time, and just after Steve Williams might well have made it 3-0. And in stoppage time at the end of the first half, the North London derby lives up to expectations. What a game we've got on here now. And you can hardly hear the whistle. Arsenal, the First Division leaders, went 2 up, Tony Adams up to 6 minutes, Paul Davis 5 minutes before half-time. But then, just before the whistle, the man who just went through the picture, Mitchell Thomas, got a goal back for Tottenham, and that should set up the second half. But the feeling I've had all season that football is on the way back is borne out by the entertainment we've had here today. It's a derby match, it's full of promise, and it's still at half-time, full of possibilities. Tottenham start the second half then, 2-1 down. Thomas here, the man that put them back in the match, with that goal right on half-time. Again. Calvin. Hoddle. O'Leary's clearance. Danny Thomas, Ardiles. Still manages to knit the Tottenham midfield together better than any other player. Here's Chris Waddle. Clive Allen's in there again, O'Leary away. Danny Thomas only as far as Adams. Both teams under new management this season, remember? George Graham has gone down to the Arsenal bench, third from the left for this second half. There goes Hayes. And there's the Spurs bench, and third from the right, the man who took over here last summer, David Cleat. Mitchell Thomas to Tony Galvin. Play on, said Roger Milford. Good advantage by the referee. Here's Ardiles. The free kick given against Davis, and somebody's spoken out of turn, and not for the first time. It's Steve Williams, who just have a habit of arguing with referees. Goff's made his run, so has Mabbott. That might run for Allen. Clive Allen's through here. Good challenge by O'Leary. Here's Danny Thomas. O'Leary's header. Danny Thomas again. It's Waddle out on the right. Glenn Hoddle is well forward in this attack. It's still Waddle for Tottenham, and it's still Waddle three around him. Now Spurs going for Arsenal's throat early in the second half. Ardiles. Foul. Goff and Mabbott, again, the players coming forward for the free kick. And there was Goff. Might run on to Clive Allen. And Goff's in there again. Mabbott's jumping with the goalkeeper. The free kick was given for a foul. Well, the goalmouth getting muddier and muddier. On by Quinn. That was Goff. Quinn again. Nicholas couldn't latch onto that. Well, there's a nice air of uncertainty about this match. There's just no telling quite where the next opening is going to come from, because there have been plenty. Paul Allen, nicely done. Chris Waddle out on the right. Hoddle and Clive Allen taking up their central positions here. Waddle's cross, offside. Five minutes gone in the second half, and Arsenal knowing that to show a clean pair of heels still to Everton, they would dearly love to keep the score the way it is here. Try and restore the 4-point advantage at the top. Here's Steve Williams. Adams to O'Leary. Significant that many continental countries have closed their football down for 2 months for the midwinter break. But in England it goes on, and bearing in mind the crowds over Christmas and New Year, that has to surely be the right decision. People want to watch, and it looks very much as though the teams want to play. Quinn's in there for Arsenal. Adams is in there too. The flag's up. The flag is up. This match is being seen in Belgium and Holland, among other countries. Davis to Sansom. Ardiles. There's Hoddle. Clive Allen in the centre forward position. He's offside. This could be Glenn Hoddle's last North London derby, should he fulfil his ambition to go abroad at the end of the season. Challenged by Danny Thomas. Here's Chris Waddle. Clive Allen wants it in the centre. Again, it was Adams who made the initial important interception there, holding Arsenal firm. There's O'Leary. Quinn, Nicholas. Foul on Nicholas by Ardiles. Well, Adams has come forward again, and so has Anderson. Quinn is already there. goes Adams. Oh, it fell just behind Viv Anderson there. It's going to be retrieved by Martin Hayes. They're still well packed in the penalty area for Arsenal. They'll have to get back now. Wasn't very good from Danny Thomas, actually. And he's in a bit of difficulty, but he'll get a free kick to get himself out of it. Anderson. Thomas. Hoddle's been penalised, but no, it's going to be, when they finally sorted it out, it's going to be the other way. So Spurs have the free kick. Galvin. Thomas again to Galvin. Clive Allen is closing in here with Lukic. Goalkeeper was fouled by the elbow of Clive Allen. So we're 10 minutes into the second half and the score, Tottenham 1, Arsenal 2. Looking for Quinn. There's Hayes. Here's Nicholas. Forward by Steve Williams. What a lovely ball that was. This is Anderson. Nicholas coming towards the near post now. Davis is in there. Offside. Rocastle had the shot. Some of Arsenal's movement is so fluent and so imaginative, not just in this match, but I've seen 2 recent games at Highbury, and it was indicative to me that they're playing rather better than they've perhaps been given credit for. People have been saying they've been scratching out results. It's rather more than that. Paul Allen to Clive Allen. Hoddle's in the middle. Paul Allen. Clive Allen.
A great strike by Allen there on his left peg as well, which unusual, but what John was just saying about the way that Arsenal are playing at the moment, they have a super little blend, really. You know, they've got very good forward players, they've got good midfield players who work hard. Little Davis, the young lad in the middle of the field, seems to be tackling himself out of the game if he's not careful. He's put everything that he possibly can into it, but they're a terrific blend, Arsenal.
Hoddle. It's a gripping contest in that midfield because Ardiles and Hoddle are both working flat out to try and cancel out Arsenal's advantage. Offside flag was up there, but there's no question mark in this match against the work output of any player. An Aussie there at 34, showing that he can still get about the pitch as well as any of them, Bobby.
That's right. And Steve Williams having a particularly good match in midfield. It's good to see a very good class player who's able to improvise and impress with a little bit of invention. They're very few and far between great midfield players, and he's got great potential, as we've just seen at the present time. He finds lots and lots of space, is very aware of what's going on around him, and makes the younger, energetic players around him play that little bit better. Very influential player.
Steve Williams volleying that one forward. Really has been a player reborn this season. He joined Arsenal just about 2 years ago, made his debut against Tottenham actually,
then had a thin time last season when he wasn't in the side so often. But as Bobby Charlton said, he's now dictating things from midfield. Good short that by Paul Allen. Here's Nicholas. Rocastle looking for Anderson. Now it's Hoddle. Allen wants it through the middle. Might be retrieved here by Mitchell Thomas. Here's Hoddle. Nicholas. Oh, beautiful attempt by Quinn to find Davis. They're just trying things, Arsenal. Accused in the double year of lack of flair. Well, I wouldn't have thought this team was short of flair. It's often been a Tottenham maxim that they play the more joyful football, but Arsenal are contesting that label today. Here's Sansom. Hayes. O'Leary. We're a quarter of an hour into the second half here, and Arsenal hold a 2-1 lead, and they also have a free kick. Cross by Williams, and Anderson is coming in here. Well, I haven't seen a match played in quite such driving rain since Jimmy Hill and I were in a freak storm in Mexico. In the summer during the World Cup, but as in that match, the players just have to get on with it. This is Danny Thomas at right back. Ardiles has gone into the centre-forward position just for a moment. Waddle has dropped back a bit. Spurs midfield is very interchangeable, but it's a question of whether they can actually get enough service up to Clive Allen to make an impact on this orderly Arsenal defence. Paul Allen. Lammert. Oh, and Paul Davis just hesitated for a moment, and it was nearly enough to let Tottenham in. Quinn. Well, who would be a spectator in weather like this? The answer is every single one of those who love their football so much they don't mind the rain. And Kenny Sansom battling it out with Chris Waddle over there. Hoddle has joined the attack again and found a way through. And Mr. Offside flag is up. Clive Allen was offside, although Hoddle's shot was the one that Lukic couldn't quite hold. This was Hoddle making the space, getting the shot in, but watch Clive Allen, he was offside anyway when the shot was actually struck. Hayes. Good header by Sansom. Quinn. Paul Allen. Sanson. Good ball. Paul Allen again. Chris Waddle on a run. O'Leary across. Tottenham really throwing themselves into it now, looking for the equaliser, and they may have a chance from this corner. It's been played short. Hoddle crosses. Mabbott comes in and Adams heads it clear. Only as far as Waddle out there. And Lukic came to meet Ardiles.
It's a really cracking match we've got here now. Tottenham just come back there. Little Aussie Ardiles, number 4, trying to get forward a lot more. And a little bit of pressure put on the Arsenal players, more than they've probably had all season. And for the inexperience that they've got, it's probably daft to say that they've got this match too much in control. But Tottenham really going forward and battling as hard as Arsenal were in the first half. May pay the price though if they go forward too quickly.
Hoddle, Clive Allen, Adams, Sanson. Yes, it's a change of emphasis now. Tottenham have got nearly all the territorial advantage, and we're seeing this Arsenal defence, who've been excellent so far this season, going through a thorough examination. Ardiles combining again with Hoddle, who was fouled when the ball had gone. Referee has said play on. Williams has played it forward to Quinn, and Mabbott has won that. Ardiles. And Arsenal break them down, and on the break, Martin Hayes to Quinn. Now this is dangerous. Nicholas is on the far side, unmarked at the moment. One well for Spurs by Mabbott. And he was fouled as well by Rocastle. And Williams kicks the ball away.
Don't think the crowd is pleased with Steve Williams, but nevertheless, it's a bit of a traumatic time for Arsenal. The teams just seem to have lost the initiative for a short period, and a little bit of a hasty kick down the line there, which really doesn't get the crowd into the best relationships.
Came out again there to Chris Waddle. And Paul Allen trying to shut off Martin Hayes. It's beautifully poised. Spurs have got to thrust as far as they can to try to secure the equaliser, and Arsenal will be looking for the swift breakout if it should be on. Here's Clive Allen to Waddle. And now it's Mitchell Thomas. Rocastle with the challenge. Needs attention from Gary Lewin. Well, you've seen most of the First Division teams this season, Bobby. Looking at it in championship terms, are Arsenal good enough to win it?
Well, John, I think they definitely are a good side, without any question. It's not a coincidence that they are where they are. They've got a good blend, like I said before. Good, strong, tall, attacking defenders. Very creative midfield players, as well as terrier-like tacklers. Little Paul Davis, who I mentioned before, specifically seems to have run right round and tackled every player on the field. He's been magnificent, I think. And they've got these big lads up front, and they've got the craft of Charlie Nicholas. Yes, they're quite capable. Tottenham also have impressed me today because they haven't thrown the towel in, even though they've been under the gun.
Ardiles. Nicholas and Danny Thomas. Halfway through the second half. Tottenham 2-1 down, but with all the play at the moment. Paul Allen. Ardiles. It breaks down though, and here's Niall Quinn. Kenny Sansom had ventured forward. It's way back on August the 30th that Arsenal last conceded 2 in a match. If Spurs are going to get a result here, they've got to crack that record and score again. Here's Ardiles. And here's Waddle. And here's Waddle again. And it's interesting these days, when Tottenham are down, Richard Gough, whenever he can, comes out of the back four and joins in the play. And he was in that last attack. It's a risk that he's prepared to take, the new Tottenham captain. And the Tottenham end of the ground doing their best to urge their team on in these dreadful conditions, especially for spectators. But that right-hand end is now a family enclosure, and only members can either stand or sit there. Hoddle. Oh, look at that from Ardiles. What a measured player he's becoming. Martin Hayes. That's Ardiles involved again in the tackle. Hayes collides with Danny Thomas. Gough. Allen. Mitchell Thomas. Hoddle. Clive Allen. So dangerous. Hoddle again. And now Galvin. And Tottenham have forced the corner. Ardiles. Now by Steve Williams on Ardiles in a dangerous position in which to concede a free kick. Mabbott and Gough both threateningly placed. Clive Allen is in there as well. Well, what can you say about this fellow? Glenn Hoddle, who's never scored in a league derby against Arsenal, clips the top of the netting there from the free kick. That's Mabbott. Williams. Oh! Well, Stevie Williams in trouble. It's going to be a booking. He's so ultra-competitive that sometimes he goes over the edge. Roger Milford takes his name for the tussle with Ardiles. And Spurs want to get on with this so quickly, the referee will call it back. Here's Mabbott. Danger here as Kenny Sansom tries to hold it, and Glenn Hoddle came through for the shot, and it was just too high again, or rather further over the bar this time.
Glenn Hoddle, one of the most skillful and probably the most gifted footballers around. Not usual for him to go forward so many times and actually score, but he's got a tremendous brain and a great vision. He brings players into the game, and he's bringing Tottenham into this game now. There's some searching glances going around among the Arsenal players about whose responsibilities are whose, but nevertheless, Tottenham at least showing lots and lots of heart and coming forward. It's not out of the question that they can save this match yet.
Offside against Clive Allen. Well, they've bombarded the Arsenal half of the field in this second half, but such is the solidity of the Arsenal defence that you have to actually question how many clean scoring chances Tottenham have actually made. Here's Quinn. Support is coming in here from Martin Hayes. Kenny Sansom's joined the attack as well. And that could give Chris Waddle the chance to break for Spurs. Sanson was very quick to recover his ground. Goff has moved forward again here for Spurs. That's Goff. Ardiles. Danny Thomas. David O'Leary. Now the break could be on. Viv Anderson quick to see the opportunity. Rocastle through the centre, Nicholas further over. Still Anderson. Into the body of Mitchell Thomas. Very good play by the Tottenham number 3 to Paul Allen. Ardiles. Paul Allen. Williams throwing himself into the tackle. This absorbing North London derby, which could have a profound effect on the top of the First Division, remains balanced for the moment in Arsenal's favour. Danny Thomas. Waddle. Paul Allen. This is Mitchell Thomas. Hoddle's in there, but again the tackle is firm by O'Leary. Rocastle, O'Leary. Nicholas wants it played inside. Oh, look at that return. O'Leary, the player who made all the ground. But with a quarter of an hour to go, you're going to see O'Leary very hastily back in his defensive position. Williams to Nicholas. Hayes over on the left. Davis. There's going to be some activity from the substitutes bench very shortly. The two subs are Nico Claesen and Graham Ricks. Here's Ardiles, who's worked overtime today. Still looks a master craftsman. Danny Thomas to Richard Goff. Quinn. Hayes. And we're going to see a change on both sides. Little Nico Claesen, the Belgian international, and Graham Ricks, who's been out of the first team since September. Aussie Ardiles, not surprisingly, is going to give way to an Argentine, makes way for a Belgian, to Claesen, and Arsenal have sent off Niall Quinn, and Graham Ricks, who's had an Achilles operation and been playing some reserve games, is now back in the thick of the First Division. That substitution was made, or double substitution was made, with 13 minutes to go here. Well, when you've played in front of 110,000 people in the World Cup semi-final, the atmosphere here shouldn't be too intimidating. So Arsenal have taken off one of their forward players and brought on a midfield man. Spurs have brought on more of an attacker. Goff. Thomas. Waddle. Hoddle to Mitchell Thomas. Still, and Mitchell Thomas goes nearly all the way, tried to find Allen at the end. Here's Goff. Hoddle. I think Mitchell Thomas is relishing the direct comparison with Kenny Sansom, because he's really the reserve left back in the England squad at the moment. But here's the man in possession in more ways than one. Sansom finds Nicholas. Here's Davis. Skill from Paul Davis. Well, how many more can he be? Well, none at this particular moment, but a beautifully balanced left-footed player, Paul Davis. He earned Arsenal valuable time and indeed a free kick. Williams will take it. And Clemence was stretched to hold that, backpedaling. Swung in by Steve Williams there. Waddle. Now have Spurs still got it left. Paul Allen. Offside against Claesen. Claesen scored at Charlton on Thursday, or at Selhurst Park against Charlton, and has already got 3 goals in the time that he's been, the short time that he's been here at Spurs. So 10 minutes to go in this derby match, and Arsenal maintain a 2-1 lead. A lead which would put them 4 points clear again in Division 1. The official attendance has been confirmed at 37,723. Here's Goff. Mitchell Thomas. Galvin. Hoddle back to Mitchell Thomas. And that's going to drift right across towards Chris Waddle. Spurs have got plenty of players in there. Goff is still forward here. And here comes Mabbott. Chipping it through for Claesen. Offside against Hayes. And Tottenham quickly back with Hoddle. Galvin. And still Tony Galvin. They're appealing for offside. Yes, the flag is up. Spurs crowd are getting very frustrated. But Arsenal, if one can again make a comparison with the double team, very firm and organised in their own third of the field, Bobby.
Yes, well organised. And when you get the last 10 minutes of a match like this after a very hard Christmas programme, fitness plays a very big part in it. And I must admit that all these players that are out here today are absolute credit, really. They're very fine athletes, very fit, and given 100% for 90 minutes on terrible conditions. They're a credit to the game, really.
Well, I would endorse that, and this match just bears out again that the First Division this season has been a very entertaining place to be and indeed to watch. Crowds are going up, and I think there's a good reason why. Seven minutes to go. Spurs still 2-1 down. Mabbott with the throw. Lukic is coming to help Anderson, but he did the right thing. Charlie Nicholas. Here's Danny Thomas. I suppose Arsenal's most famous victory ever here was the one that clinched the league 16 years ago when they won 1-0 at Tottenham. They had a 5-0 win here in 1978. Today they lead 2-1, which has pleased their bank of supporters. But Spurs are not giving it up by any means yet. Paul Allen. Mabbott. Sansom driving it forward a little hurriedly this time. Ball only goes as far as Galvin. Mitchell Thomas inside. Galvin again. Oh, he gave it away. And Paul Davis has got players right and left here. Nicholas to his left is in a good position. Martin Hayes is in the centre. Davis has joined him. And Hayes couldn't quite reach across, which got a slight deflection. Hayes again. Rocastle. Here's Galvin. Claesen. Nico Claesen. Sliced by Adams, it's a corner. Arsenal protesting, but the referee has given the corner to Tottenham. 4 minutes to go. Waddle has placed the ball. Hoddle's over on that side as well. Goff and Mabbott are in the penalty area. And there's Richard Goff, and off the line! Kenny Sansom, I think, who got it away on the right-hand post. Indeed, Goff's header may have been turned on, but either way, Sansom was the player who cleared. Very close to the equaliser there, Tottenham. And Arsenal have still got some defending to do. Chris Waddle, Paul Allen going through. And again, that tower of strength, Tony Adams, with the maturity to play the ball out accurately to Martin Hayes. Williams is in there, but here's Davis. I don't think Graham Rix has got a touch yet. It's all going on around him. Rocastle. Nicholas. And Charlie tries to dribble his way through and gets a free kick for Arsenal. Well, there are less than 3 minutes to go. And this match is building up now to quite a climax. Davis and Nicholas and Rix all around the ball. And Nicholas, there's a deflection on it. It's going to be a corner to Arsenal. Well, they may be 2-1 up, but they're still sending Viv Anderson forward and Tony Adams. And Anderson couldn't reach it, and neither could Adams. Nicholas chasing out there, but it's gone out. Well, have Tottenham got one last shot left in their locker? Here's Chris Waddle. Nicholas. Well, Tottenham was so close to the equaliser. The header was by Richard Gough. I think an Arsenal player touched it first, maybe Paul Davis or Rocastle, and then Sanson got it off the line. Nicholas. Taking on Danny Thomas, but he's a nimble little fullback. And the Arsenal fans are trying now to roar their team home to what could be a memorable victory. We're in the last minute of the match. There hasn't been very much stoppage time here. And Arsenal lead by 2 goals to 1. Allen to Hoddle. Paul Allen through the middle. Can he break? Claesen waiting for a cross. And he fell over Anderson. And Roger Milford said no penalty. Here's the second chance to see it. It's Paul Allen's cross. Well, it certainly wasn't a penalty. If anything, it was a foul the other way. It wasn't even in the area anyway, so we can all forget that. And concentrate on what could be the last few seconds. We're moving into time that Roger Milford may have added on. Arsenal lead 2-1 and have possession with Rocastle. Here's Williams. And now Anderson. And Williams, Rocastle. Anderson. Ricks is calling in the middle. Hayes is there too. It comes out to Williams. They're trying to keep it in that corner, Arsenal. This is going to be a goal kick. 39 wins each in the series before today, and in this 100th league derby between Arsenal and Tottenham, it's Spurs hoping for a last chance to prevent Arsenal from going ahead in the series. But they could do it because Arsenal have won by 2 goals to 1. One match from 39 to 40 wins over their great North London rivals, but more important to these modern players, go back 4 points clear at the head of the First Division. All the goals coming in the first half. Tottenham had more of the second half, almost all the play in fact, but those Arsenal supporters salute a memorable victory, based again on a very sound defence, which has now let in only 13 goals in 24 league matches. The scorers for Arsenal, Adams and Davis. The scorer for Tottenham, Mitchell Thomas. But it's Tony Adams who will be a contender for man of the match. He salutes the fans. And Arsenal go back along these North London streets to their own manner with a 2-1 victory in their favour. And White Hart Lane sees another exciting, compulsive game between these two neighbours, which ends Tottenham 1, Arsenal 2.